Dan and I had a really big fight at the beginning of the recording of the movie, so we're still working out our issues. So bear with us. And Elliot's kind of being a baby.
I don't understand how I'm being a baby.
Let's just get
I
on
asked
with
you
the
to change my diaper and feed me. Suddenly I'm a baby.
They asked for a binky. But beyond that, I don't know.
So, speaking of
I
Elliot...
cried because my tooth was cutting through my gums. Suddenly I'm a baby. And the reason I was being a baby is because these guys were arguing during the movie, and it was making it hard for me to pay attention to it.
Why?
Because what was going on slowly. Because what was going on with you was so much more dramatically interesting. Yeah. Although to be fair, you guys did argue a lot during the scenes where they were introducing these characters.
But there was definitely like an assumption. I don't want to. By the way, I don't want to worry the Flophouse audience. Stuart and I have made up.
Kind of.
Okay. Well, I mean, Stuart. I mean, like. There will always be scars. I can tell that Stuart's still irritated with me, like, deep down, but at the same time, I can tell that it's going to be okay. So,
I mean, this isn't like a rift in the Flophouse, right?
No.
Daddy? Other daddy? Why are you fighting? Are you going to get a divorce? Is it because of me?
No, it's because I'm the cool dad. Mm-hmm. He's the Paul Reiser dad.
Yep. Yeah.
Tough but fair.
And we fight sometimes. That's the way it works.
So I'm the daughter in my two dads?
By the way, this should be the new Flophouse contest, is that listeners should write in about what they imagine we were fighting about.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I would enjoy that much more than thinking about our actual fight.
But to continue on that tack, Josh, last name withheld, says, what Stuart and Dan were fighting about. Here's my take.
I remember that one.
We had a contest about
we had one of our famous Flophouse contests.
Yeah. During a slow portion of My Soul to Take, Dan admitted to Stuart that his parents had prevented him from seeing Cool World in the theaters.
Wait a minute. This is scarily accurate. Keep reading.
Because they said it was too adult. Stuart found this uproariously funny and spent the better part of 5 minutes pointing out that Dan was a loser who had to ask...
Was he here? Was Josh here?
Dan was a loser.
I mean, you never saw Cool World. You are a loser.
You would never know what Holly would if Holly could.
Who had to ask his parents' permission to go to the movies. Further, Stuart proudly boasted that his parents didn't give a shit what he watched as a child, even letting him stay up to watch HBO on Saturday nights when it was, to quote Stuart, nothing but tits.
I mean, verbatim.
Sounds like
verbatim.
It sounds like a quote.
Are we being? Was there a wire? Dan, are you wearing a wire?
An already irritated Dan decided to let Stuart slide on this one, but that thin layer of restraint was shattered when Stuart ate the last bona fide chicken from Popeyes, a Popeyes he didn't pay for, mind you. Furious at this affront, Dan blurted out that Stuart was actually the biggest loser because he admitted to getting turned on by that scene in Ghostbusters when Dan Aykroyd had that one dream sequence where a ghost blew him. Stuart snarled in response, at least you didn't say it was a spooktacular blowjob or whatever the fuck you used for ratings when it's October. There was silence for the remainder of the movie. During all this, Elliot merely sat off in a corner, trying his best to ignore his friend's childish antics by writing a fan fiction about what happens when the biker mice from Mars live in the same universe as street sharks.
Read it already. Wrote it already.
So that was the...
That's very accurate.
Yeah, I mean, that was... I remember that fight.
That was spookily accurate.
Yeah.
Or was it frighteningly funny? Or...
It was both.
Scarily wrong.
No, it was pretty close. We often get in fights about Cool World. So...
I mean, usually it's about whether the... usually...
I think in terms of things you get into fights about, Cool World is like 65-70%. Yeah.
I mean, it's an awesome world, is what I think it's an awesome world where a lady walks around in a short dress.
Like a cartoon or a real lady?
Well,
that's a cartoon lady.
She's a cartoon lady. Until she has sex with a real person, which somehow turns into a real person, but then doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the world blows up.
I've seen that movie a couple times. I still don't really understand what the hell is going on in it.
No.
It's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah, for people who don't pay that close attention to what's going on
and don't like to be entertained.